Hi everyone! Today we're going to learn about characters again. If you remember from a couple days ago, we read a book called Spring is Here, and we figured out that our characters were Bear and Mole. We figured that out because we knew that the book was about the bear and mole. They talked in the book, and they were animals, so we knew that all those three things meant that they were characters. Characters are who the story is about, they can talk, and they can be people or animals. Today, we're going to read a book about an Easter bunny, and we're going to figure out who our characters are as we read. This book is called The Bad Easter Bunny. When you read, it's really important to look at the cover, because the cover could tell you who our characters could be. So, right away, I see an Easter bunny right there, and I see a little girl. So, they might be our characters in this book. We'll have to read and find out. And before I start, I have to say that I do not own any rights to this book. The Easter bunny was feeling sad, and this had turned his bright pink fur blue. Easter was not fun for him anymore. Each year, his job was to carry and hand out presents to all the children. He struggled to hold onto the gifts and stumbled under their weight. The children would crowd around and greedily grab the toys, sweets, brightly colored chocolate eggs, and delicious candy, and they never said thank you. One little boy snatched a shiny gold chocolate egg so fast that he knocked the Easter bunny to the ground. So, from reading this so far, I saw the Easter bunny a lot, right? So that might mean that he's a character. We're going to have to keep reading to find out. Wobbling, the Easter bunny stood and saw all the colors of the rainbow before settling on red. He felt very, very mad, and his fur now glowed a bright, angry red. The Easter bunny had snapped, and he no longer wanted to be nice. Wanted to be the nice, present-giving Easter bunny. He would now be the bad Easter bunny, B-E-B for short, and only do bad things. B.E.B. hopped up and down on the remaining toys until they were broken into tiny pieces. He ate the chocolate eggs, scattering the empty wrappers with wicked glee. The street was a mess, and the children ran home. He hopped through the neighborhood doing very, very bad things. Suddenly, feeling dizzy, B.E.B. sat down on the sidewalk. His fur turned a sickly green color, and his ears drooped. He looked at the trashed neighborhood with the broken toys and empty candy wrappers, and no longer felt red with anger. A little girl on a scooter saw the mess and the sick Easter bunny. "Why are there broken toys and candy wrappers everywhere?" she asked. B.E.B. replied, "I was mad that no one appreciates me, so I decided to be the bad Easter bunny." Ooh, now we know that the little girl is in the book too, and she talked. That's another thing that characters need to do. And the Easter bunny talked too. "I appreciate you," said the little girl, throwing her arms around him. They gave each other a huge hug. Just because someone doesn't say they are always grateful doesn't mean they are not. Tears fell from B.E.B.'s eyes, and his fur began to turn blue again. He realized he'd been foolish and silly, ruining the presents and the holiday. B.E.B. wanted to give the little girl a present, but there didn't seem to be anything left. He crawled into the giant sack, looking to see if there might be something that wasn't broken or eaten. As the Easter bunny swung his flashlight, he spotted a bright red, shiny wrapper glistening in the darkness. It was an unopened piece of candy. "This is for you," said B.E.B., who no longer wanted to be a bad bunny. The little girl was so delighted and said the words that Easter bunny had been hoping to hear. "Thank you." On hearing those magic words, the Easter bunny began to change color. He went from pale blue to bright pink. The little girl broke the piece of candy in half for them to share. At that moment, the Easter bunny realized that being bad will not solve your problems, and that thank you are the nicest words in the world. The end. So when we read that book, we realized that both the Easter Bunny and the little girl talked. And that was one thing that characters need to do, right? They all need to talk. And we realized that the Easter Bunny is an animal and the little girl was a person. And when we read, we realized that the story was about them, right? The Easter Bunny was on every single page of the book, and that means that the book is about him. The little girl wasn't on every single page, but because she talked a lot and she was in the book a lot, that meant that she's a character too. So, in the Bad Easter Bunny, we figured out that our characters were the Bad Easter Bunny and the little girl. And when we read the book Spring is Here, we figured out that our characters in that book were Bear and Mole. When you're reading at home, I want you to try to figure out the characters in your book too. Remember, you have to think about who the story is about, who talks in the story, and if there are people or animals in the story. I hope you have fun reading. Bye!